Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Common Sense Crypto channel. As with you always, this is Rich doing another video today on XRP. So I hope you're all having a wonderful day today, wherever you are in this great world. We're going to talk about XRP. But before I get started, I had some people ask me, what about your other cryptocurrencies? I know you said you're not going to sell your XRP, but what about your HBAR, XLM, and so on? Honestly, any cryptocurrency that I hold that can be utilized within an ISO message, I don't plan on selling them in this cycle. I think we're very close to institutional adoption now, which is going to open up passive income for all of us as crypto holders. So there would really be no need to sell your crypto. Unless the price gets to some astronomical price, then I might start offloading a little bit of crypto. Other than that, I think they're still way too undervalued right now. XRP at this price is super undervalued. Same thing with QNT, very undervalued. HBAR, you could say the same thing about every one of these utility-driven cryptocurrencies. I think we are on the verge of getting passive income, risk-free passive income. But there is absolutely nothing wrong with taking profit. If you have to take profit, definitely take some profit in this run. It'll allow you to stay patient until the bigger price points start to show up. September 2025, this comes from Cyprus. Institutions are not preparing to sell their crypto. They're preparing to earn yield on it. The institutions are already looking at yield as well. And I always said, think like an institutional investor. They're not entering this space loading up on crypto to offload it soon as the price goes up. They're going to put this crypto to work for them. They're going to earn yield on it, and they're going to lock it away for very long periods of time. Most likely 5 to 10, maybe even 20 years. They're not rushing to sell. Neither should you. This is the week we find out if the SEC, despite the government shutdown, will press the approval button. XRP ETFs are ready to go. Honestly, I would love to see that happen. I just don't think it's going to happen. I think this is going to stay delayed until the government reopens. And then I think everything will start to get fast-tracked. Who knows? Maybe they're working on big things behind the scenes while the government is shut down. And Brian Armstrong says, a common misconception is that crypto is too expensive for new people. You don't need to buy a full Bitcoin or ETH to get started. You can start buying and holding crypto with a few dollars. And Dom from Easy A says, actually, Bitcoin and ETH are too expensive for most people. This is why we focus on the alt so much. Everybody is going to be looking past Bitcoin and Ethereum. If you cannot be a whole coiner in this space, there's no sense in holding that cryptocurrency at all. That's the way I look at it. If you want to get a great return on investment, you're going to get an absolutely incredible return on investment with XRP. XRP showing early signs of capital rotation. It's only a matter of time. XRP and Solana are showing early signs of capital rotation as options traders increasingly bet on a rebound in select altcoins, while Bitcoin and Ethereum consolidate. At the time of writing, XRP trades at $2.40 and Solana at $191, both outperforming their larger counterparts. And that's going to continue to happen as well. We're going to watch even Solana and XRP both outperforming Bitcoin and Ethereum. Because if you can't buy a whole coin, most people just aren't going to buy it. The idea of putting money in week over week into Bitcoin to buy a fraction of one Bitcoin, I just think that is the wrong way to invest in this space. I think if you want to make real money, you have to have a decent bag of these cryptocurrencies. Buy whatever you can afford and then just sit back and wait for it to happen. Institutions target allocations of up to 2 to 2.5% to each digital asset category. Now, State Street says they're already at 7% overall, aiming for 16% by 2028. Digital assets are no longer alternative. So you see, digital tokenization of real world private assets, 2.5%. Digital cash, including stablecoins, 2.3%. Digital tokenization of real world public assets, existing financial instruments like funds, 2.2%. Bitcoin and ETH, both 2.2%. Other crypto assets, smaller crypto, meme coins, and NFTs, 2.1%. Other liquid cryptocurrencies and liquid tokens, 2%. You know, they always gave Bitcoin and ETH first mover advantage. That's why they're at the prices they're at right now. But in a level playing field, XRP will outperform both of them. That's why eventually we will see XRP take the #1 spot. $3 million XRP hack shows 95% of recovery firms may be predators. So while law enforcement often struggles to respond swiftly, Zach XBT says a recovery economy has emerged to exploit victims' desperation. Another lesson is 95% of recovery companies are predatory and charge large amounts for basic reports with few actionable insights. Many such firms, he added, rely on SEO and social media targeting to lure victims. They often provide only superficial blockchain reports or telling clients to contact the exchange. So imagine this, you just lost your crypto and now you go to one of these recovery firms and they charge you a fee, and then all they do is tell you to contact law enforcement or contact the exchange. It's predatory, and they're making the situation even worse. They're talking about the guy who lost $3 million worth of XRP. And James Rule says 99.9999% of crypto theft is user error. And I agree with that. Everybody blames the wallets. They blame this, they blame that. But then you later find out it all happened because of human error. And Phil Kwok over at EZA says, one of the most confusing things about setting up a new wallet is it will ask you if you want to import an existing seed phrase. This is confusing because it sounds like you should put your existing seed into it. But if that new wallet is a hot wallet, you definitely don't want to do that. Just create a new seed phrase for that hot wallet. Never mix your cold seed phrase into your hot wallet. If you do that, simply also having your seed phrase in a cold wallet will do nothing to protect you. You always got to know the difference between a hot and a cold wallet. Me, I buy my crypto on the exchange and then it instantly gets put into cold storage, and never keep it online. That's the biggest thing that you need to learn. People always are like, well, I just keep my crypto wherever I buy it on the exchanges. That's not a good idea either, because again, not your keys, not your crypto. But a lot of people always keep their device connected to the internet as well. You can easily lose your crypto. Self-custody isn't optional, it's survival in this ecosystem. Control over your assets is everything. If you're not protecting your XRP, you're leaving your future in someone else's hands. That comes from Black Swan Capital. And I agree with that as well. Always use cold storage. Always get your crypto off the exchanges. We have no idea what goes on at these exchanges. Wait until XRP reaches some crazy price points. Do you honestly think the liquidity is going to be there on the exchanges for you to sell at different price points on the way up? You're going to see exchanges go down one after another. They're going to cite congestion. They're going to say right now we're experiencing technical difficulties. What it is they're keeping you from selling your crypto. And you could do all of this without an exchange. You could connect your wallet directly to the XRP ledger. You could convert your XRP into a stable coin as well. True, XRP is deflationary and no more will ever be created. Pundit to XRP holders, it's becoming exponential. Supply will vanish. But the one thing I want to point out in this article is they talk about, can XRP flip Bitcoin? The notion that XRP could surpass Bitcoin's market cap in the near future is an ambitious forecast. As of October 2025, Bitcoin remains the world's dominant digital asset, supported by deep liquidity, institutional recognition, and a well-defined scarcity model, and propped up by fake tether. However, XRP's advantage lies in utility-driven value, not store of value narratives. If trillions in annual payments begin routing through the XRP ledger and XRP becomes indispensable to that process, a revaluation could occur over time. Pair that with the upcoming catalyst like the Clarity Act, potential XRP ETFs, and clearer U.S. regulation, and the foundation for exponential growth becomes more credible. Like I've been saying, the Clarity Act is going to benefit utility-driven cryptocurrencies. And when those XRP ETFs go live, I'm telling you right now, the money is going to flow in there. They already know that money is coming. They knew before they even filed for those ETFs. In conclusion, the post reflects the growing conviction among XRP advocates that Ripple's G Treasury acquisition could mark a turning point for global payments. You got to remember, XRP actually is successful when it comes to payments. And if people could utilize the token for its actual use case, it gives it more value. You cannot use Bitcoin to transact. And that store of value narrative, that's broken. I mean, every time the slightest crisis breaks out in the world, Bitcoin is dumping out. That doesn't look like a good store of value to me. Genuine question, who actually uses the XRP ledger? Bill Morgan says you could start with 2,025 real-world asset holders and 32,470 stablecoin holders, and maybe do some research on the rest of the XRP ledger ecosystem. The ecosystem around the XRP ledger, it's so well-rounded, and it's always building out and growing. And none of that value has shown up in the price of XRP yet. That is still coming as well. I mean, look at XRP Healthcare. That's going to emerge. That's still building and advancing. Then you look at that DNA protocol, which might be a different option other than a government-issued digital ID. This might be an alternative option to that. And that would make that very, very successful going forward. But then you look at gaming and everything else that's happening. The XRP ledger is not dead. It's expanding in real time. The U.S. government's crypto holdings are now worth over $35 billion. Bullish. I don't see that as bullish. First of all, they don't even hold any XRP. And XRP could actually strengthen the U.S. dollar, moving it around the world in a matter of seconds for less than a penny. But if you look at this, think about what happens when we get a new president. Sure, Trump says we're not going to sell off any of this crypto, but the next president might dump all of it. You don't know what's going to happen in the future. Plus, they're not going to have competition to the digital dollar. They're going to want that digital dollar to be adopted by every single person out there that they can. So they don't want any other option other than the digital dollar. Bitcoin was always looked at as an alternative. Why do you think the ECB always tells you that Bitcoin is not going to be part of the future? because they're going to make it irrelevant. But the government holding billions of dollars in crypto, to me, that just isn't bullish. And honestly, if you're a Bitcoin maxi, most Bitcoin maxis from years ago, I'm talking about the OG Bitcoin maxis, they would have been urging the government to sell off that crypto. The new generation of Bitcoin maxi, they want a government bailout. Two different things. But we're XRP holders. We already know XRP is the future. We already know the government needs XRP to move value around the world, to move the dollar in its current form or move it in its digital form. It doesn't matter. You still need a bridge currency. And until it all happens, stay patient, stay positive, and let's get rich together. With that said, I'm going to wrap up this video. I want to thank you all for watching. I appreciate all of you. I'll see you in the next one. Have a great night.